Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's IELTS class. We're just about to get started here. First, as usual, I want to check the audio and video. So let's see what's going on there. Can everybody hear me and see me okay right now? If you can hear me or if you can see me, please let me know. The stream is showing that I'm offline. I'm doing well. Can you guys see me okay? All right. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. All right. Interesting. YouTube is telling me that I'm offline, but clearly that's not the case. Let me just adjust the focus here a little bit on the screen. Okay. All right. So today's lesson, as I mentioned yesterday, we are dealing with IELTS speaking. I will show you an IELTS speaking example today and strategy for the IELTS speaking section. We'll talk about what you need to do before the IELTS exam to get ready for your speaking, and then I'll give you some tips about what you should be careful of during the speaking test. Hi, everyone. It's a little bit dark. I can brighten it a little bit, but I'm not going to be that much brighter because I'm backlit. So, the other way. There you go. That'll be a little bit brighter. So, there you go. How's that? Looks a little brighter for you? Awesome. So, thank you for everyone joining right now. I still do not know how many of you there are because it's still showing that you're offline, but I'm guessing there's about 100, 120 students that have joined so far. Again, today, IELTS speaking. Materials are coming from our two websites, aehelp.com for academic IELTS. I'll show you that in a moment. And then gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Of course, the speaking section is the same for both. So it doesn't matter if you're studying for academic or for general. The speaking interview is exactly the same. You get the exact same format and the same level of difficulty for questions, okay? You can join us there on our websites, join the full course. Lots of materials to help you pass the IELTS and get a high score. Also, in some countries, you can use Super Chat. Super Chat is the emoji or is the $ beside the emoji. And if you have a really important question or a comment, you can pay a couple dollars and then I can clearly see that it gets pinned so I can answer questions more effectively that way. I am offering Skype IELTS speaking interview practice these days for students. So if you're interested in that, please send me an email. My email is my name. My name is Adrian at aehelp.com. So send me an email for more about Skype IELTS speaking interviews. Okay, so if you're interested in that, interested in practicing with me, send me an email and I'll reply and then let you know how that works. Okay, so again, we are taking our materials from our website, which is aehelp.com. I'll show you that. There's some good help for speaking there. So this is our academic IELTS help website here. You log in at the top. If you're studying for general IELTS, then just go to gieltshelp.com and then you can log in for general IELTS there. The color scheme for general IELTS is green. So it makes a clear difference there. Don't confuse what you're studying for. If you're studying for general IELTS, guys and girls, make sure you're studying for general IELTS. Even though the listening and speaking sections are the same, the reading and writing are different, especially writing task 1. So make sure that you study for the correct IELTS. Okay, some students get confused. They study for the wrong IELTS. That's not good at all. So this is the general IELTS, and then this is our academic IELTS. It's blue, okay? Academic IELTS is for university, school, sometimes for work. General IELTS is for immigration, okay? Now, I know some of you are doing exams this weekend, so good luck if you're doing that. And then here at the top, we log in to the website, and here it gives you a tour interface of how to use our website. I'm not going to walk you through that right now. And then you will notice here that on the left-hand side, we have 2 buttons. It's kind of small for you on the screen here, but this is the student partner speaking. So if you click on that button, you have to agree to our terms that it's your responsibility what you share and what you talk about through this interface. It looks like Skype, and then once you accept, then it will take you to our live speaking practice. You have to allow this, and then in that interface you'll be able to connect to other students. Now we've also set up the Skype interview practice feature, which is here, so you can click on that. So in our course you have lots of materials. You have a full course with interactive tools, and there is a speaking section lesson, so you can go there, and we have a full curriculum book with 6 practice exams and a student workbook and a study plan. Today we are going to be using some of the speaking questions from our first test book. It will be test 2. And then I'll give you the strategies and so on of what to do. And we have audio examples for the speaking as well. So in your course, when you join, you have a whole bunch of CDs and audio here. We'll use that today to show an example. And you have audio for not just the listening sections, but also for the reading and the speaking sections as well. So let's get into it. The questions for today, you can see them in your stream description. So stream description for questions. Has the questions, okay, for today. Can everybody see the stream description? Can you guys and girls see the IELTS speaking questions that we're looking at today in your stream description? Just give me some feedback there. Okay, some yeses coming up. That's great. Okay, and then I'll just put up our website here so that you can go to it at any time. All right. So as a first step, let's talk a little bit about IELTS speaking, what you need to do, and how to achieve a high score. So the first question that I want to ask you is, what is IELTS assessing during the speaking? How do they score you? Okay, anybody know what the IELTS is looking for when they're measuring your speaking ability? Okay, yep, so somebody said fluency, that's definitely one. Sure. Fluency, we'll talk a little bit more about that. So I'll actually go to 2 here. Let's get these back on the left side. Okay, pronunciation, not so much. Grammar, coherence, sure. Grammar, coherence, range of grammar or range of vocabulary as well. Okay, fluency, grammar, coherence, lexical resource. Lexical resource is basically your vocabulary and your grammar range. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so some good ideas there. Fluency, grammar, vocabulary. And then let's say natural speech. Okay, so in fact, the 3 that they're really looking at are coherence, complexity, and natural speech. Okay, so I see some good answers up there, but really IELTS actually just divides the focus into these 3 main categories: coherence, complexity, natural speech. Okay, what does coherence actually mean? Anybody know what coherence means? So what does it actually mean? Can somebody tell me what you think that means? Coherence? Yeah, okay, so PS Studio has a good answer there. So this is accurate answer. Okay, accurate answer to questions. Yep. Easy to understand. When you say structurally good, Prosalpha, it means easy to understand the structure and word choice. Sure. Yep, coherence also includes some idea of connectivity. Okay. Accurate answers to questions, easy to understand, connection among ideas. Anything else? Consistency, sure. And it's mostly an accurate answer to questions. And not only that, but a very important one here. So these are the 2 most important, perhaps, is completely answers questions. Okay. Sometimes students give accurate answers, but the difficulty is that the answers are partial. They're not complete. Okay. It's one of the most common mistakes for students, that they give an accurate answer, but they give partial answers. So they don't actually give complete answers. Okay. What does complexity mean? So when we say complexity, complex language, what does that mean? So when IELTS is marking your complexity, what does that mean? And you've said this before, just it was separated out. So range of grammar and vocabulary, also known as lexical resource. Okay. Constructing complex language, so use of complex and compound sentences. And if some of this is not clear for you, it's okay. I will explain these to you in more detail later, okay? So we'll talk about this in more detail as the lesson progresses. So range of grammar, vocabulary, lexical resource, use of complex and compound sentences, sure. Okay, and higher level, more accurate vocabulary is one of the other ones. Okay, what does natural speech mean? Anybody know what natural speech means? What do we mean by natural speech? Yeah, so use of slang and idioms, sure. Of some slang and idioms, sure. That's natural because native speakers use slang and idioms. So some slang, you have to be very careful with the slang and the idioms. When you say something like native speaker or mother tongue, that's very abstract. That's not actually a clear answer. Try to be more specific in your answers. Okay, speaking fluently, sure. Without awkward breaks, okay. A lot of students think that it's bad to take breaks during your speech, but that's not true as long as those breaks are natural, okay? Native speakers also pause while they talk. You'll notice that I take pauses while I'm speaking as well. It's just that I take natural pauses according to English speech, okay? So natural speech also includes intonation. Okay, intonation is the inflection and deflection, or the up and down sounds of your words. Enunciation. Okay, enunciation is basically similar to intonation, but it's not connected to words, it's connected to sentences. So it's the way that you carry the flow of the sentence. Okay, natural speech can include collocations as well, for sure. That's absolutely right, Raya. Collocations are used as well. And also, it includes something else. For example, I've, or I'm, or he'd, right? What are those called in English? Anybody know? So when I basically cut parts of the word out and put them together, what is that called? Anybody know what that's called when we do that in English? You're missing one letter there, Raya. Gonna, wanna is okay as well. Absolutely. They're called contractions. Now, be very careful. Contractions are good to use in your IELTS speaking, but do not use them in your writing task 2. Okay? The only writing where you can use a contraction, if you use it correctly, is General IELTS Task 1. Okay, academic IELTS Task 1, Task 2, and General IELTS Task 2 writing do not use contractions, okay? We write formally without contractions. But in speech, it's very natural to use contractions. So you should practice using contractions in your speech, okay? So especially the common ones. All right, so in today's class, and then the second class that we'll have today, we'll focus on these points of coherence, complexity, natural speech. All three of them are being assessed by IELTS, and the way that you are able to perform in all three of these kind of areas of language together will give you your IELTS band score for the speaking interview. Okay, so they have a marking sheet, a very secret kind of marking rubric where they break coherence, complexity, and natural speech into these components. They're marking you on each of these components and then have a total score for coherence, complexity, natural speech, and then together all of that gives you your total band score. It is a good marking system, as good as possible. It's very difficult to assess human language, but IELTS does as good of a job about this as possible. If the mark for your speaking is not clear, if there's confusion, then there will be multiple people who mark your speaking if it's recorded, and then they take the average of those scores. So they do try to give you a very fair mark. However, if you feel that you did better than the score that you get, you can argue it. It's rare that your mark goes up, but in some rare cases, especially if the speaking is recorded properly, then your mark can go up, okay? Usually the score stays the same, but in rare cases it can go up. So if you really feel that you did a better job than what you got, you can send in a request to have your speaking reassessed. Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about what you should do before your speaking interview. Okay, so quick question is, when should you start practicing for IELTS speaking interviews? So how long before the IELTS speaking interview should you start practicing? How much time should you give yourself before you sit the IELTS exam to begin practicing for speaking so that you can get a nice high score of 7 or more? That's right, Eldar. So you should give yourself 3 months or more. So begin to practice for IELTS, including speaking, at least 3 months before the test. Okay? This will give you the best chance to get a good score and really do well on the exam. Sometimes students start preparing like 1 week or 2 weeks before the test. Yeah, that's okay, but definitely you won't really see a huge improvement in your ability in speaking in 2 weeks. The best that you can do in 2 weeks is understand the format, so the nature of the test, the way that it works. And if you're familiar with the way that the test works, then you can be more confident and get a better score. But to truly improve your ability for speaking, your grammar, your vocabulary, and the rest of it, you definitely need at least a few months, okay? And what should you do each day? So what should you do each day to practice speaking? So what should you do each day to practice speaking? What should be your daily routine? Ildar, to get a 5, it really depends what your level is right now. And from that benchmark, I could give you more advice. But you can always contact me by email and then I could help you out more. So yeah, you learn vocabulary daily. That's a good advice. How many new words should you try to learn each day? This is a bit of review from some of our past classes. Again, if you're new or if you're just joining, make sure you subscribe to our channel and look at some of the older or previous lessons because there's a lot of great information there for you. Raya's right, 3 to 5 words, okay? 5 to 10 is too many. It's very difficult for an adult human to learn 10 new words effectively each day. It's much more realistic for the average person to learn 3 to 5 words daily. And the reason for this, guys and girls, is because when you're learning new words for your speaking, and of course for your writing and listening and the rest of it as well, you don't just learn to comprehend them, you have to learn to use them, okay? So learn to use new words as well as understand. Okay, now I'm not going to go into detailed vocabulary learning because that's covered in some of our other lessons, and I'll do that later in the week as well. But for now, we're just focusing on this question. What should you do each day to practice speaking? Okay, so you're learning new vocabulary. That's great. What else should you do? Well, let's quickly add learn new grammar, or learn and practice grammar. Okay, so we don't need to go into that one. Okay, so you're learning and you're practicing grammar, you're learning new vocabulary. What else do you need to do? And I was hoping that this would be, there was a piece of information that some of you would say first. Okay, so Sai Baba says practice with a partner. Absolutely. So practice, speaking. Okay. You have to practice speaking. Practice speaking with a partner. Okay, where can you find a speaking partner? Hadil says record yourself. Yeah, we'll get to that one as well. That's also good advice. Okay, so practice with a partner. Where can you get a speaking partner? Where can you find a speaking partner? Yeah, that's right. Guys and girls, you're right, Raya. You can find a speaking partner on our website. You can also find me as a speaking partner if you send me an email through Skype. Also our YouTube channel. So speaking with a partner, look at, there's a lot of students on our YouTube channel that search for speaking partners. So look at the speaking videos on our channel. Okay, and again, guys and girls, this is really, really important. I actually write this up here, is be careful not to disclose private information. Okay, so there are some weird and creepy people in the world today, so please be very careful with private information. Speaking videos on our YouTube channel. On our website, you can find speaking partners through our website. So again, when you go to our website and then you click on this blue link here, Student Partner Speaking, then you can find speaking partners there. Sometimes you have to be a little bit patient for people to join, but you'll find someone there. Okay, and if you click on the yellow button, you can set up Skype speaking with me. All right, and also in your community, okay? Look around in your community. There's always a good chance that there are other people in your neighborhood, in your school, in your religious group, in your recreation center or something that are looking for speaking partners. And of course, here in the chat, you guys can talk to each other while I'm teaching and set up communication so that you can practice speaking with each other through WhatsApp or through Skype or something like that, okay? If you're looking for Skype lessons with me, there is a charge, so of course that can't be free because it's my work. Again, to find out more about that, just send me an email and then I can give you more information. All right, so the most important is that you're practicing speaking. If you cannot find a speaking partner, or if your speaking partner is lazy and doesn't show up, then what should you do? So sometimes people say, well, I can't find a speaking partner, or my speaking partner is lazy, they're not showing up to our discussed or agreed on times. What should you do? Should you just stop studying IELTS and stop speaking? Erkan has a good advice, says find another one. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't actually ever replace speaking to another person. So it's really, really strongly advisable that you do have a speaking partner. But if you can't find one, or if you need more practice, then speak to yourself. Like shadow boxing, okay? So even professional fighters, when they don't have a partner to fight with or to spar with, okay, the word for play fighting or practice fighting is called sparring. So when professional fighters like boxers or mixed martial artists, when they don't have another person to spar with, to practice fighting with, then they do what's called shadow boxing. They stand in front of a mirror and they throw punches and kicks and grapple and so on, and they basically practice with their own shadow, okay? So speak to a mirror, speak to yourself, and it's really a good idea, and you can do this with most phones these days, to record yourself. Okay, so you want to record yourself speaking. Okay, now you recorded yourself. What do you do after? So what should you do after you record yourself? And this is really good practice for everyone. Hadil says, hear your recording, or the better way is to say, listen to your recording and search for mistakes. That's right. Then what do you do? What do you do after you've searched for mistakes? So you're listening to your IELTS responses, and then you find some mistakes. What should you do? Correct your mistakes, right? Correct your mistakes. Yeah, mend or correct your mistakes. And write down the correction. Okay, so unfortunately with speaking, what happens with humans is we create what's called fossilized mistakes. Does anybody know what fossilized means? So what does the word fossilized mean? Anybody know when I say fossilized mistake, what that means? And I'll give you a hint. If you think about the word fossil, then you might be able to get it. I bet maybe a couple of you might be looking up the word right now. Fossilized means to turn into stone. Yeah, exactly, Raya. So it's an error that is made so often that you basically get used to it. Okay? So it means that you make the same mistake in your speaking again and again and again. You know about the mistake, you know that you make this mistake, but you can't avoid making the mistake. This is called a fossilized mistake. Everybody does it. Native speakers do it, non-native speakers do it. One of the most common mistakes for native speakers that's a fossilized mistake is using was instead of were, like if I was a doctor. If I was a doctor is incorrect English, is if I were a doctor. But many native speakers will actually say if I was a doctor. It's a fossilized mistake in our grammar, okay? So that's why it's so important to write down your mistakes when you're correcting them and listening back to your mistakes. And then what should you do after? So you corrected your mistakes, you wrote down the mistake, and you wrote down the correction after you listened to it. And of course, you're using IELTS speaking practice papers here. So what should you do after you have made the correction? So after you make your corrections and your recordings, what do you want to do next? What do you think? You want to re-record and then keep listening to the corrected speech, okay? So record and listen again and again, okay? That is the key. So this is a very, very powerful and useful exercise that you can do for the IELTS speaking section at home, okay? Use your recorder, record your answers to the speaking section, listen to them, find your mistakes, correct your mistakes, re-record, listen again and again and again and again, okay? And that will be a surefire way to improve your IELTS band score by the time you get to the exam. You'll be much more confident, much more fluent in your speech, okay? So this is a very powerful exercise. And of course, find a speaking partner. Now, there are a lot more steps of what you should and should not do before your speaking exam. But for now, for today, so that we can get to our example, I'm just going to ask you one more question about what you should do before the IELTS speaking. So the specific question here is, what should you do on the day of the IELTS speaking test? So the actual day that you're going to have your test, hopefully you have a few hours in the morning. Sometimes if you're one of the first, then it's going to be quite early, so you should wake up a little bit earlier in the day. But hopefully you have at least 2-3 hours. So what should you do on the day of your IELTS tests? Yeah, Erkan has the most important point, number 1, is listen to English and speak English. Guys and girls, I cannot stress enough for you how important this is. So many students who get 6 on the speaking section and walk in cold, it means that they don't use English at all before the actual interview. They walk in absolutely cold and then they get a 6. The same person, the exact same person on the same day, if they practice speaking for 30-40 minutes before the interview, will get a 7. Okay? So practicing English and using English before the speaking interview will make a full 1 band difference for many students, okay? Okay, so I'm using a lot of exclamation marks here, but that's because I've seen this. I've seen this with many, many students, okay? Where the student walks in cold, gets a 6. Same student, same level, walks in, not cold, 1 week later. Nobody improves their English actually in 1 week. They take the test again in 1 week. They speak English for half an hour before their speaking interview. They walk in and they get a 7, okay? So it's very, very important that you use some English before the test. Who should you use English with? Who should you use and talk English to before your speaking test? Anybody? So who should you speak English to before the exam? If you have nobody else, Bana, absolutely, then yourself. Lakshmi has the right answer. Anyone, everyone, okay? So talk in English to everyone, anyone. Remember, you or your parents have just paid close to $300 for you to sit this IELTS exam. It's a life-changing exam. It's going to be the difference in what school you go to or whether or not you can move to a more prosperous country. So we're not talking peanuts here, okay? It's a very important exam. It's a very expensive exam. So don't be shy. Talk in English to everyone and anyone, even to grandma, even if she doesn't speak English. Just let her know, hey, grandma, I'm writing a super important exam today. I just have to keep speaking English, okay? So speak English to everyone, anyone. Tell your friends and family this is a super, super important and expensive test, and you will use only English until you are done. Okay? It's one day, it's a few hours in your life. I'm sure people around you will understand. If they don't speak English, they'll just nod their heads, but you can tell them in your own language, of course, first that, hey, I'm going to use English from now on until I'm finished the test, okay? Even if it's painful, awkward, doesn't matter, do it, okay? Just do it, all right? So super, super important. And then somebody else also said relax, stay calm. Being too nervous is not good. Okay? So absolutely, if you're too nervous, it is bad. So don't do that. Try to stay calm, okay? All right. One of the other things that you should not do, okay? Don't be too scared, Alexander. Here, I'll give you a little information of why you shouldn't be too scared. For the IELTS examiner, they might smile at you, and of course they're going to treat you like a human, but to the IELTS examiner, you're just a number, okay? So, yeah, they're going to be friendly with you. They'll say, hi, welcome, please have a seat. We're going to begin the IELTS speaking section. Can I start with your name, please? You'll tell them your name. Hi, my name is Adrian. They'll seem very friendly, but basically on top of the sheet, they'll write down a number. That's your number. You're just a number, okay? Just like somebody in jail. So all you are to them is just a number. Remember that. They have a very standard way of marking, and they will see up to 20, 30 different candidates that same day. They will not remember you. They will not remember who you are. There's a very good chance that somebody will do worse than you and somebody will do better than you. So you're not, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings here, but you're not special, okay? So you're not special. You're just a number. So stay calm, okay? Focus, okay? What we always tell our students is talk to the examiner as if they are your grandpa. Clearly, loudly, calmly, and with respect. Okay, so just picture that you're talking to your grandpa who has a little bit of hard of hearing, and you have to say everything very clearly in nice full sentences, clear explanations, good examples if they don't understand, and you're talking to your grandpa. Speak with respect, okay? Clearly and with respect. Dilpreet, check back in the previous parts of the lesson. I gave lots of advice on how to find a speaking partner, okay? One place that you guys can find a speaking partner, of course, is on our website at ahelp.com or in this stream, okay? All right. Now, one of the big do nots, and I say this because I know a lot of students try to do this, is do not try to predict the topic of the IELTS. Okay? And this is true for all of the sections of the IELTS, but especially for speaking as well. This is 1 in a million, and you will be confused and disappointed when it is a different topic. Okay, so a lot of students try to predict the speaking section. They'll be like, okay, I think last week my friend told me that the IELTS was, the question 2 was about a businessman, so I'm sure that this week they're going to ask me about an object, like a gift that I got from somebody. And so I'm going to practice about talking about objects and gifts, and then I'll do a really good job. Don't do that, okay? I've seen students do that. They do that because they're nervous or they're not prepared well enough. Don't do that. And Hadil's also right. Don't try to memorize topics. It doesn't work because your coherence score will go down if you try to memorize topics, okay? You should not do that. All right, so that is some important information about what you should do before the IELTS speaking, okay? So again, just a quick recap so far. The materials that we're using today, they're coming from our websites, ahelp.com, glshelp.com for general IELTS. We just talked about the 3 important parts of IELTS speaking, which is coherence, complexity, and natural speech. We'll get into those in more detail. And then we discussed what you should do before the speaking interview. Some of the key points: begin practicing 3 months before the test, 90 days before the test. Learn 3 to 5 new words per day. Practice those words. Practice speaking with a partner, okay? Whether or not you have a partner, doesn't matter. You should use your phone or another recording device, your computer, and record yourself speaking. Correct your mistakes, re-record, and then listen again and again and again, okay? And on the day of IELTS, speak in English. That will help you to gain half or even a full band score, okay? And then stay calm. Don't try to predict, and don't try to memorize topics. It doesn't work, all right? Okay, so we are looking at a sample speaking interview from our test book 1 from our website. Of course, the speaking has 3 different parts for those of you who are completely new to IELTS. Part 1 is about a general kind of topic, such as school or hobbies or sleep patterns or travel or favorite foods, clothing. So these kinds of general topics, okay? You need to be able to talk well about these. So here we go. The first one here is let's talk about school. So you get into your IELTS exam. Of course, you don't see the questions. Only the interviewer sees the questions, okay? So only your interviewer sees the questions. You do not see them. When you go in and you sit down, they'll ask you for your passport or your ID. They'll check your ID. They'll take that ID and they'll put it on the table. In most cases, they will record the speaking if they need to use it for further marking purposes, all right? In some situations, your interviewer is not actually the person who marks you. So you need to speak loud and clear. In case they need to use the recording to reassess or mark your speaking, it has to be loud and clear, okay? Otherwise, they won't be able to assess you if you're talking very quietly like this and they can't really understand and you're being shy and then nobody can hear what you're saying, and it's very difficult to give you a good mark if you're being very, very quiet and flat like this, okay? Not because your English is bad, but because simply we just can't hear what you're saying. So make sure to speak loud and clear, all right? Okay, so let's talk about school. That's the topic. Immediately, as soon as the interviewer says, let's talk about school, you should start to visualize, you should start to see what's going on here. So the first question is, where do you go to school? What's a good answer to this question? Where do you go to school? Just send me an email, AJ, if you're not finding the material, and I'll help you out, okay? We'll see why you're not finding the right amount of materials. Okay, so looking for some answers here. Where do you go to school? Okay, Ildar, you will not get a very good score for that. Do you know why? Because you're using past tense. I went to school. This is present tense. You have to pay attention to the grammar. It's saying, where do you go to school? Go means generally. Where do you go to school now? Okay? So I go to school on Lawrence Road. Okay, Hadil says, I go to school here in my country where I live. Hadil, where do you live? What country? Include the country name, even if your interviewer is there. Hadil, if you say, I don't go to school anymore, it's still too short. You need to be more clear. But I did go to school, okay? So here are two good answers for this question, okay? So always reflect the grammar. Always show the grammar of the question. This is simple present tense, so we need to use simple present tense in our grammar. Okay, so this would be a level 8 answer, okay? I go to college here in my hometown of Victoria, just a couple of blocks from where I live. The name of the college is Camosun. That would be the right answer for where do you go to school. If you don't go to school anymore, then this would be the answer. Okay, so I do not go to school anymore because I graduated in 2010, but before then I went to Camosun College near my home. Okay, now guys and girls, I know you're watching me at home. Maybe you're in a library, maybe you're sitting at your desk or somewhere. Don't be shy, repeat me. So when you hear me say the response, just repeat me. Try to imagine that you're here live in this classroom with me and repeat after me. So I'm going to say these sentences again, nice and loud and clear. After I say the sentence, just repeat me, okay? So repeat what I say. So the examiner asks me, where do you go to school? My response is, I go to college here in my hometown of Victoria, just a couple of blocks from where I live. The name of the college is Camosun. Go ahead, repeat after me. Okay, the next one. I do not go to school anymore because I graduated in 2010. But before then, I went to Camosun College near my home. Okay, here we go. The second question. Don't convert tenses if you don't have to, okay? So stick with the grammar of the question. So here's the other next question. What other schools have you attended? What's the grammar of this question? What other schools have you attended? What is the grammar of this question? Absolutely. It is present perfect. Yeah, you're right, Hadil. This is a present perfect sentence, so you need to show present perfect in your response, okay? It's very important that you reflect the grammar of the question. They're looking for that. So if the question is present perfect, your answer should be present perfect. Can some students here give me a good answer for this? So what other schools have you attended? Please write down a full sentence answer for this. Hadil, just choose one. It doesn't matter. Choose the one that is going to give you the chance for the easiest answer. Okay, Vijay Kumar says, I have attended 2 different schools, not various schools. I have attended 2 different schools, which are, you need to continue with your answer there to get a higher score. I have attended Baghdad University to complete my project. I didn't ask you why you attended that school, but you might want to answer it. Sure, I still want to be more clear. Lakshmi says, I have attended my degree in SNS College, Kartmata, India. Okay, good. It's not bad. To be honest, I have also attended musical school for adults, says Ildar. To be honest is a little bit weird there. I assume that you're going to be honest with me. So I guess that you're being honest. It's not a good leading expression for that sentence. Paraskevi says, I have attended several other schools because my father works in the army and we had to move to other cities a lot and we moved around a lot. For example, I have attended a school in Cyprus and Saloniki, Greece. Okay, great. Yeah, that's a nice, full, complete answer. That would get the highest marks so far. Yes, Kira, you're right. Usually hometown is the country of birth, but it can also reflect the town that you currently live in or that you consider the one where you've lived the longest, maybe not the place where you're born. So it's up to your choice. Just be clear about what your hometown is. Vijeta Sharma says, I have attended St. Paul's School and then I have attended government school. Okay, yeah, that's not bad as well. And again, don't forget that in speaking, you can use contractions. My answer is, I've attended two other graduate schools, Langara College and the University of Victoria. I did a master's degree in the former and a doctorate in the latter. Okay, so somewhat similar to your answers, and the only difference here, I'm adding a contraction to the grammar. So again, just repeat after me, okay? I've attended two other graduate schools, Langara College and the University of Victoria. I did a master's degree in the former and a doctorate in the latter. Now, of course, I'm giving you some level 8, 9 responses. So again, just repeat after me. I've attended two other graduate schools, Langara College and the University of Victoria. I did a master's degree in the former and a doctorate in the latter. Okay, now here you see the next question. It's, which was your favorite and why? Okay, now sometimes the IELTS examiner will ask you the why question, sometimes not. You should always give the why answer, okay? Try to always give the reason. Giving the reason is a big part of coherence. So when we say coherence, Mark, then it means that you give not just a clear answer, but a complete answer. And giving a complete answer often includes, or almost always includes, the reason, the why, okay? So which was your favorite and why? Can some students here write a couple of responses to which was your favorite and why? VJ, various and different are used in different contexts or in various contexts. Different often when we're comparing between two, various between multiple, just like between and among. So different is mostly in situations where it's two, and various is where it's more than two in many contexts. Now that's not always the case. If you're having trouble, send me an email with a few different examples, and I can give you a more clear explanation of where you would use different and where you would use various. Okay, so Arjun says, Sant Kabir School was my favorite school. It was near my home. But Arjun, you're still not telling me why it was your favorite school. If it was your favorite school because it was near your home, you need to say that. So you need to say, Sant Kabir School was my favorite because it was near my home, okay? So just saying it was near my home is not clear. Kira says, oh no, Kira's answering a question there. Paraskevi says, I would choose the one I attended in Cyprus because the courses there were really interesting and quite different than those I had back in Greece. Also, the weather there was great. Yeah, that's a nice, clear, good, strong answer. Absolutely. Fatih says, my favorite was, guys, don't forget the noun, so include the subject noun. My favorite school was the University of Novi Pazar because professors are so dedicated to their students, which makes their lectures very engaging. That's how I would finish that one, Fatih. Okay. Lakshmi says, SNS College is my favorite because it was near my home. Yeah, that's a good way. So the because is an important connection there. Dilpreet says, this Bob's school is or was my favorite school because they have many facilities for students, such as a gym, a cafeteria, and a computer lounge. So give us the details, Dilpreet. Vijeta says St. Paul Schools, which is situated at Aburad in Rajasthan, state of India, was my favorite school because I met many new friends there, and learning was fun and easy. Careful with your grammar, Vijeta. Don't get yourself into trouble with long sentences. Okay. Julia says, my favorite one was public art school because I could use imagination to escape from reality. Beautiful answer. Very, very good, Julia. Beautiful answer. That would get a high mark. Okay, so my favorite school was the University of Victoria because I had a chance to plan and complete my own graduate project, which was not only fulfilling but also rewarding for the field of psychology. Okay, so somewhat similar to some of your answers, my favorite school was the University of Victoria because I had a chance to plan and complete my own graduate project, which was not only fulfilling but also rewarding for the field of psychology. Now, here we're getting into this complex grammar. So remember I said that they're marking you on complexity, so how complex your language is. So when we're dealing with complexity, we're looking at compound complex sentences. Question for everyone. What kind of grammar, complex and compound grammar, am I using in my answer? So what kind of complex and compound grammar am I using here? That's right, Paraskevi. Not only but also. So not only but also is what's called it's called correlative conjunction. Correlative conjunctions make your mark go up. Okay. So I'm using a correlative conjunction. What else am I using? Yep. So I'm using some past tense grammar, sure. I'm also using complex grammar, right? Because showing cause and effect, so subordinating conjunction. That's cause and effect, sure, yep. So I'm combining cause and effect subordinating conjunction with a correlative conjunction, and I have something else in there. Yeah, I'm also including which, okay? So the word which is an adjective clause here, or an additive clause. Okay, so I'm combining subordinating conjunction with an additive clause with a correlative conjunction, all in one sentence. Now, if you're searching for those really high marks, like 8 or 9, or relative clause is another way to say it, sure. Then you really need to be able to create these kinds of sentences, okay? So again, don't be shy. Repeat after me. Because it's a longer sentence, I'll go a little bit slower, but keep pace. So, my favorite school, so again, just repeat after me. My favorite school was the University of Victoria because I had a chance to plan and complete my own graduate project, which was not only fulfilling, but also rewarding for the field of psychology. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Do you enjoy school? Why or why not? Can somebody give me your answer for this one? Do you enjoy school? Why or why not? Just give me some of your thoughts, your answers. There's no wrong answer. Try your best. I will help to correct your grammar and so on. So this is a great opportunity for you to practice. So do you enjoy school? Why or why not? And you can give a negative. You don't have to enjoy school. So whatever you think. So Ildar says, I really enjoy school because I am taught new subjects. If you're creating a passive sentence, Ildar, don't forget the be verb. If you're not, then you have to say, I learn new subjects. Okay? Arjun says, yes, I enjoy school because further study, I play the football game here. It's unclear. I'm not sure what you're saying with that, Arjun. Yes, I enjoyed school a lot since there were a lot of sports activities and occasionally on regular basis. Okay, I'm seeing some poor grammar here, guys. You're going to have to write those sentences down and make some corrections, guys and girls. Okay, I really enjoy school. It helps me improve myself and also gives me an opportunity to have a great time, Hikmeet. Sure. Again, these are some abstract ideas. You want to be a little bit more concrete. If you're having trouble, give an example. Adil says, yes, I do enjoy school a lot, not only because I have great friends there, but also the subjects I'm studying is very useful for the world of technology, which is computer science. Sure, great. And you're using some of my language here, and that's excellent. Apply what you learn. Apply what I'm teaching you. Absolutely. Eunice says, actually, the school was as part of my entertainment because I was a super active pupil, I believe is what you're trying to say there. Not a cyber active pupil. Yeah, that's not bad, Eunice. That's okay. Yang Lily says, yes, I enjoy school since I can meet a lot of interesting people there and make friends with them. Also, we can share our thoughts freely in school. Yeah, that's great. Again, when your thoughts are abstract, so when your writing is a little bit difficult to, or your thoughts are a little bit difficult to comprehend, go into an example. So for example, what you learned, or for example, who you met there, your best friend. Shup Patel says, it's an interesting question. Yes, I enjoyed school a lot. Don't forget the noun. I enjoyed school a lot because it has a playground and I get different types of opportunities. Flora, I missed yours. There are a lot of comments coming up. Again, guys and girls, don't be shy. If you can use Super Chat, please do. Then I can see your comment for sure. Flora, write it down one more time and I'll try to catch it, okay? I enjoyed school a lot because I've not only gained a wealth of knowledge, but also learned how to use it in life. One more reason why I really love school, is that I have met a lot of friends there. Sure, okay. I'll give a response here as well. Those are some great answers. There are a couple of small grammatical mistakes in a lot of them, so please do check your work, okay? If you're not sure, send us an email. I love school because I love to learn. I feel that knowledge is the key to a successful life, and for this reason, I am always excited to attend classes and listen to teachers. For instance, I am in the process of enrolling in an art class because I have always wanted to learn how to paint or oil paint. Okay, so here's an answer. Okay, so again, Flora, if you want me to read yours, I don't want you to be sad. Just send it one more time and I'll read it. Okay. Here's my answer, guys and girls. I love school because I love to learn. It's a generalized statement, but it's good to make these generalized statements if you know them. I feel that knowledge is the key, so this is why we always review our work. To a successful life, and for this reason, I'm always excited to attend classes and listen to teachers. For instance, I'm in the process of enrolling in an art class because I have always wanted to learn how to oil paint. Now, this is what I want to show you here. When we're expressing emotions in our speech, it's often difficult to explain emotions. So feelings of loving or enjoying or hating or being nervous, these kinds of feelings can be very confusing to explain, even in our own language. So one way that we can help our explanation is by giving a clear example, okay? So here, my example is, for instance, I am in the process of enrolling in art class because I have always wanted to learn how to oil paint. So remember this strategy. Give examples when explanations are difficult, such as explaining feelings, okay? Or other abstract ideas. Abstract ideas means ideas that we cannot physically see or touch, okay? Charan Meet is asking me, sir, I have a question. Can we answer to this question in the past tense also? Like, I had enjoyed school, or I used to enjoy school, but I don't anymore. Yes, you can. You just want to be careful not to get yourself into trouble with the grammar. So it's often not a good idea to make it too complex, okay? So again, repeat after me. I love school because I love to learn. I feel that knowledge is the key to a successful life, and for this reason, I am always excited to attend classes and listen to teachers. For instance, I'm in the process of enrolling in an art class because I have always wanted to learn how to oil paint. All right, 2 more questions. Let's look at the next one. What is your favorite subject? Choose quickly, choose easy, choose smart, okay? Don't give a difficult answer. So please do not choose some very high level, complex, specific 4th year subject or some master's class or doctorate class that's really difficult to explain. Keep it simple, keep it general, okay? So what is your favorite subject? Manpreet's asking, is it compulsory to put examples in every part 3 question. No, you don't have to always give an example, but it's definitely a good idea to give examples for difficult questions, ones that are difficult to explain, and that's common in part 3. Okay, so you definitely want to do that for some of part 3, absolutely. Okay, Arjun says, history is my favorite subject because I love to know more about historical fictions. History is not fiction, okay? Careful, you'll lose marks if you use words incorrectly. Non-fiction. I would say that a little bit different, Arjun. Yes, Saeed, it is live. We are live right now. So Arjun, history is my favorite subject because I love to know more about famous people who lived in the past, such as Napoleon and Abraham Lincoln. Okay, that would be a better answer, Arjun. Fatih says, my favorite subject to study is chemistry because it will help me during my preparation for enrollment to med school. Okay, yep, that's not bad, sure. It's a little bit of an awkward answer, but it's not bad. Shub says, actually all subjects are my favorite subject because I had a very good faculties for all subjects and I love to learn. That will not get you a good mark, Patel. Don't generalize too much. Saying that all subjects are your favorite, first of all, awkward, hard to believe that you liked all those subjects, but even a bigger problem is that it's difficult to explain. Choose the one that you liked the most, okay? Sai Baba says, my favorite subject is biology because I always love numbers. You mean mathematics is your favorite subject? Numbers would be mathematics. Biology has numbers, but it's more about the living world, okay? Tan Nam says, my favorite subject is chemistry because I love to know about everything in the world, what everything in the world is made up at the molecular level. That's what I would have said. Eunice says, since my childhood, I was keen on chemical reactions. Consequently, in my school years, chemistry always was the most important and interesting subject for me. Good. That's nice. Okay. My favorite subject is maths. I love maths because it challenges me to solve complex problems. For example, I always had difficulty in solving puzzles, but math helps me to overcome this. That is a very good answer, Charanmeet. Just avoid the word you. Okay, just like in writing, don't use the second person voice. Okay, those are some great answers, guys and girls. I'll throw one up as well, a little bit different topic, but very similar. My favorite subject, especially during my later studies, has been psychology because I am fascinated by understanding how the human mind works. Okay, so here we go. My favorite subject, especially during my later studies, has been psychology because I am fascinated by understanding how the human mind works. Very similar to a lot of your answers, again, using some nice complex sentence and language structure here. So just repeat after me, okay? Don't be shy. Repeat nice and loud, and please don't just when when I'm asking you to repeat. I can't see your answer anymore, Sai Baba. Sorry, it's gone. Again, guys and girls, if you really want me to see your answers, don't be shy. Donate $1 or $2 if you have Super Chat, and that will pin or that will create a sticky comment that I can see longer. Okay. I miss some of your answers because I'm typing or looking at the board. Also, sometimes they're just moving so quickly. Okay, and so when you're repeating me, please repeat me nice and loud. So don't just yum, 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 yum under your nose, mumble under your nose. That's not effective. Don't be shy. Try to find a space or an area where you can speak nice, loud, clearly, and repeat me the same as what you hear. So, my favorite subject, especially during my later studies, has been psychology because I am fascinated by understanding how the human mind works. You should reflect the grammar of the question, Hadil. If we're not doing that, then we should correct that. So what is your favorite subject is present tense. So you can say my favorite subject is. Absolutely, you can reflect the present tense. Now, if you're reflecting present tense with present perfect, that's okay. Here, I'm doing just that. So present tense and present perfect are somewhat interchangeable. Okay. All right. One more question, guys and girls. Are schools different in your country? How are they different? So, of course, this question only applies if you're doing the exam in a different country. If you're doing the exam in another country, or in your own country, sorry, then you would say, well, this is my home country, so schools are no different here. However, if I'm comparing them to schools in the West or in the US, then they are so and so. All right, let's see what you answer for this. So, are schools different in your country than, let's say, in Europe? Okay, so I'll give you a little bit more information here. So, are schools different in your country? How are they different? Can you write up some answers, please? And then I'll let you know what I think about those answers. Okay, good answer, Syed. Just be a little bit more clear. Yes, in my home country, the weekends or days off from school are Saturday and Sunday. However, here, the days off from school are Fridays and Saturdays. Good. Okay, yep. Absolutely. That's a nice, clear answer. And you don't need to say much more than that. That is a good answer. You can get a 7, 8, 9 with that. I'm waiting for a couple more answers before I give mine. This is the last question, so stay with it, focus. Don't jump ship on the last question. So, are schools different in your country? How are they different? Okay, Flora, I see you wrote up your answer again, so I'll look at that while I'm waiting. Indeed, I like a few of my classes, like oil painting or sketching. I mean, I like most, and I just missed it because so many more came up. Flora, anyway, it looked like an okay answer, but there were definitely some grammatical mistakes there, so you'd want to write that out and check your grammar mistakes. Okay, Charmeet says, I haven't had a chance to be in a foreign country, but according to my observations from social media, I would say exams are more or less the same in my country as compared to other parts of the world. That is a very good answer, Charmeet. That will get you a nice high score. It's grammatically correct. You're using a contraction. You're using complex sentences. It's clear. It's accurate to the question. I like it. Sai Baba says, very interesting question. Nice way to buy time, Sai Baba. So very interesting question. I could say yes, because in India, teachers use blackboards to teach, but in Europe and other developed countries, it's much more digital. Sure, or whiteboards. Yang Lily says, well, I study in Hong Kong all the time, but compared with Western school, I feel studying in Hong Kong is boring because there are a lot of core courses which I don't really want to learn. Sure, that is a great example, or a great answer, Yang Lily. I would probably explain what you mean by core courses. So I would say like math, physics, chemistry, but not as much of acting or art class. Julia says, Russian schools tend to prepare you for tests more than for giving you knowledge or critical thinking? Yeah, absolutely. That's a good answer, Julia. It's short, it's sweet, it's good. It would be a 6, 7 for sure. A little bit more detail will push it to an 8. Hickmeet says, generally in my country, schools are the same as Europe. Of course, there are some differences like after-school classes and some technological items which are used in schools. Okay, be very clear on what you mean. So again, guys and girls, if it's confusing, give examples, okay? So I will answer this question as well. Yes, there are. Here, we'll do one of these techniques that I teach in the courses where you can buy time. That is an interesting question. Please give me a moment to think. Yes, there are definitely some distinct differences between schools in Hungary and Canada. For instance, there is much more lexical knowledge taught in Hungary, as where Canadian courses or curriculum focus more on developing critical thinking. Okay, so I purposefully gave a nice long answer for this last one because I want to cover a couple of interesting points with you here. So a lot of times students, and I see this in the comments on our YouTube channel as well, are concerned and worried about using natural fillers like hum, and so on. Natural fillers are actually a good part of language. We use them to think more deeply about ideas and what we say so that we can speak in a more intelligent and coherent way. So using hum, and even some spaces, some pauses in your language is absolutely okay. It doesn't mean that you're not being fluent. A lot of students, especially I see a lot of students in India making this assumption that if you pause or you say then it means that you're not fluent. And it's probably because some of the languages, especially in India, like Hindi and Punjabi, are so quick and rapid fire without pauses that maybe in those languages it means a lack of fluency. But in English, natural pauses and natural fillers are a very common part of our language. Lawyers, doctors, politicians will use them frequently in their language. So use effectively in your IELTS and to give you better answers and better ideas, and you will get a better score. Also, you can buy time to think about responses simply by asking for them. And you can use phrases like this one. That's an interesting question. Please give me a moment to think. And then your examiner might actually say, yeah, sure. Take a second, okay? It's okay to do that. It doesn't mean that you're not fluent. Some of these questions are tricky even for a native speaker. So you want to have some time to think about your answer. That's absolutely okay. So ask for time. That's an interesting question. Please give me a moment to think. Yes, there are definitely some distinct differences between schools in Hungary and Canada. For instance, there's much more lexical knowledge taught in Hungary, as where Canadian curriculum focus more on developing critical thinking. Let's make a quick fix here. Curricula for plural. So This is a good answer. I'm using specific country names to make the answer even more clear. And again, I'm including some form of a further explanation or example. So again, just repeat after me. Last answer. That's an interesting question. Please give me a moment to think. Yes, there are definitely some distinct differences between schools in Hungary and Canada. For instance, there's much more lexical knowledge taught in Hungary, as where Canadian curricula focus more on developing critical thinking. Okay, so that is the first speaking lesson for today. I will be back in roughly about an hour and a half at 3 p.m. my time to look at part 2 and part 3. I'll discuss some strategies there, and of course, we'll continue with this example. Again, these materials, guys and girls, are coming from aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com. So you can go to our website, join there. And there are lots of materials here for you. So there's an entire 4-part speaking course. It takes probably about 10 hours to complete that. You can do live speaking practice. We have 6 full exams. And then we have our audio here as well. And there are more than 40 lesson videos in here. And the speaking section alone has 10 speaking lesson videos that you can watch anywhere, anytime. Before I go, I will play for you the audio for this speaking as one student does it. So just listen up, and then I'll say my goodbyes after. I believe this is it here, so just give me a second. Let's see. Hopefully we'll be good here. For part 2, I will ask you about a specific topic. You will have 1 to 2. Hello there. Have a seat.
Thank you.
What is your name?
My name is Maria Angelic.
Okay, Maria. We're going to start the IELTS speaking section. I will record this speaking part of the test for marking purposes. To begin, I'm going to ask you a few questions on a general topic. Are you ready to proceed?
Yes, I am.
Okay, let's talk about school. Where do you go to school?
I just finished high school in my hometown of Rouen in France. Right now, I am traveling and preparing for university.
What other schools have you attended?
Well, I moved from Paris when I was 15, so I had high school there. Additionally, I have attended a nursery school and elementary school in Paris. I have gone to 4 schools in total.
Which was your favorite? Why?
That's a tough question. I enjoyed all of the schools I went to. If I had to pick one, I would choose the elementary school in Paris. I met some of my best friends there, and the school had some of my favorite teachers.
Do you enjoy school? Why or why not?
Yes, I do enjoy school. I like seeing my friends and learning new things. I look forward to weekends though.
What is your favorite subject?
My favorite subject is physics. I like learning about how the world works.
Are schools different in your country? How are they different?
The schools in France are very similar to those here. The one big difference is that children in France go to school for 1 year less.
That is the end of part 1. Okay, so that was a specific topic. Okay, so that was the example from our website, and that would be easily a score 7, even a 7.5. Okay, keeping it simple. So again, you can join our website at aehelp.com for academic IELTS, okay? So if you go to aehelp.com, there is a place there for you to join. That's our class for today, guys and girls. Thank you so much for watching. I will actually have another class today in about an hour and 20 minutes. 3 p.m. my time, Central European time, where we will look at speaking part 2 and speaking part 3 and practice some sample answers there. So stay tuned, or if you're up and awake at that time still, then join us then. Remember, you can donate some money through Super Chat as well. For general IELTS, go to gieltshelp.com. Much love, everyone. It was great to see many of you back today. I hope to see some of you in the second class for today. Sai Baba, speaking is the same for general and for academic. So these classes apply to both of the exams. Subscribe to our channel for sure. Lots more videos. I think we have 200 videos on this channel alone. Yes, you can say, AJ, well, that's a tough question. Absolutely. It's natural English. Yes, you can use the coupon code LIVE20 for a 20% discount. So LIVE 20 will give you a 20% discount from our courses. See you later on. We will be continuing tomorrow with some listening exercises as well. So if you can't come back for today's class, the second speaking class, then make sure that you come back tomorrow same time for some live listening action. All right. Much love. Bye, everyone. Keep up the good studies. Push through. You'll do great. I keep cheering and rooting for all of you to do the best on the IELTS as possible and reach your goals and dreams. Bye for now.